George Ranch Historical Park has many sights of the past, but sometimes you can hear sounds of the past. This is the sound of a time when people made everything they needed, when there were no stores on every corner to provide the necessities of life.
Turn it away from the curl.
Right.
Caitlin Hill is teaching blacksmithing at the Oldenburg blacksmith shop behind the 1890s Davis House. Despite what impression you may have had from movies, this shop was not just about horses.
The shop was actually designed for wagon wheels and full wagons and outfitting them. It was built in 1896 outside of Oldenburg, or outside of San Antonio in the town of Oldenburg. And it was very modern. It had steam power, it had very modern equipment, and it was not for use out on a ranch by itself. It was very much overkill for any one ranch. It was more akin to what would become machine shops in modern context. Horseshoes were a big part of what we did up until around this time period, which was what makes it a lot of fun being in the shop, is because we actually are a marker of, not a schism, but a split in the kind of focusing of different blacksmithing techniques. We have the farriers who go out to, shoe your horses nowadays. And that happened because of things like adding a steam shop or a steam-powered engine to a machine shop, because the steam engine would be terrifying for the horses. And so they wouldn't want to come near the shop at all if they could help it. And so they started using smaller forges that they would then take to the stables, and they'd shoe the horses there, which then led to a greater specialization, and now farriers are almost half veterinarian, half blacksmith.
Also, despite what you may have seen in movies, it would not have been unusual to see a woman working here.
Generally, if women were in the blacksmith shop, they were a daughter or a wife of a blacksmith, and when they get sick or injured or they go off to war, the work still needs to be done, so we would step in. We do have painted and illuminated images dating all the way back to the 1100s. The oldest one I've come across is the woman forging nails in the Holcomb Bible. I apparently talked about it a lot as a teenager, and so when I was 19 and 20, my mother gave me the option to either figure out a way to follow my passion and at least learn the trade, or get out of her house. So I found a kind of a summer camp for adults. It was an art school in Pennsylvania, and they offered week-long workshops, and I spent the summer out there and picked up the trade and have been doing it on and off ever since, and that was about 12 years ago.
She had 2 students on this Saturday.
Well, today our class was about learning how to make an S-hook, which involved the very basic aspects of what we kind of do, where you have to forge the metal down to the point, then they had to curl the point, then they had to curl that into the S shape, and then they were able to twist it, which is a decorative touch that doesn't really add a lot of strength or anything to the process, but shows another way that we can move the metal. And then from there, they went into making a fire rake, which involved tapering again and a 90-degree bend, as well as shaping a handle to fit their hand. And no one threw a hammer across the room. That's always a mark of a good day.
So blacksmithing is not just horses and not just men. What other wrong impression can we correct? Oh yeah, you have to pound the metal as hard as you can, right?
No, it's actually a very gentle touch. I guess I did not expect that. I wasn't too surprised, but I didn't expect how lightly I would hit the metal with my hammer. That's correct.
Yeah, there's more finesse to it than just pure brute beating on metal, and it's just part of it's knowing the nature of the metal and how to make it move where you want it to move, and so now there's definitely some skill to it.
It is important, at least to my mind. It's a piece of history that's still relevant today, because understanding what goes into making the items in your home, even though most of the time we buy them from like Walmart or Home Depot and they're fabricated with kind of bubblegum welding, it's still important to know where the material came from and how it was made. And this is just such an interesting skill set that kind of refuses to die. It's had a few resurgences since it's became obsolete, as many people think. And so it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and it really does help you appreciate what you have nowadays and what you don't necessarily have to go out and make yourself.
Check out the blacksmithing classes and other events at georgeranch.org. For Great American Pastimes, I'm John Woods.